think when you are in a category that he's talking about, and that's pretty much a lot of women. There's nothing wrong with you if you're 40. There's nothing wrong with you if you're plus size, and there's nothing wrong with you if you have children.
Right.
Understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want, they're calling him because they want a certain type of man.
Right.
And what he's telling you
they want a man
is that
him.
those types of men want these types of women.
Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our content. Okay, so we got sent a email, and so I'm going to read the email. You guys have been coming through with the emails, by the way. Right. So thank you for the topic ideas, because I feel like we have topic ideas, but I'd be like, y'all's be better sometimes. So, I'm gonna read the email, and then we'll get into this. Here we go. My friend, okay. Hello, my friend and I enjoy your channel. At first, we didn't like that you took up for Kevin Samuel's average at best comment, but then we could see what you two were saying. My question is, what do you think about his take on women with kids, plus size women? Women with kids, plus size women, women over 40, and college educated women. Thank you for keeping it real, Tiffany. I feel like when we did Kevin Samuel's thing, I feel like now everybody's going to be wanting to know our opinion on Kevin Samuel's. Okay, so we have looked at a few of his videos to get an idea of what this man is about. And so I think that, I mean, he's arrogant. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's kind of arrogant in the way he talks and stuff. But a lot of the things that he says, while the way he says it may not be appealing to a lot of women because he's pretty abrupt and brash, some of the things that he's saying, you can't really deny. Right. A lot of it is, I do agree with it. Like Kara was saying, people call him. Like, people are calling him for advice. This is,
his show is... It's like partially fact-based and then also an opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So you have to understand that when you call someone in for their opinion, you're going to get their opinion regardless of if you agree with it. Now, I don't really agree with every last thing he said. And that's another thing. Just because someone says something right doesn't mean that he's automatically right on everything. And also doesn't automatically mean you have to agree with everything someone says just because of one video. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I've seen, so I know what you're talking about because I've viewed some of the videos, and we've just by your guys' comments, we're getting an idea of what he's about. I have actually, I'm not sure yet, but I've actually heard him talk about plus size women, college education, and all this, women with children, and why high value men, now that phrase is being spread all over the world, but why high value men are not into women like that. So this is kind of like the part where it's hard for women to hear some things, I think. Sometimes it's hard for us to hear some things. We're pretty blunt people, so I don't mind what he's saying. I do agree with it, just out of, I think, like, experience. Yeah. There are some things, like, okay, so we can just break this down. Women with kids. So when he says high-valued men, I'm assuming he's talking about men who have high-powered careers, going places, make good money or great money, the 6-figure guys, or 7-figure, whatever it is, guys. So I'm assuming he's talking like about them, and a lot of those men, I won't say they have a problem with, but they do have a standard. Yeah. Some of those men do have a standard. Not all of them are the same standard. And before you finish, though, everybody should have standards. Everybody should have standards. Everyone should have standards. Woman or man. Yeah. You should have standards, and sometimes your standards are going to sound snobbish. Yeah. To everybody. But it depends on what you're saying. Yeah. Like, we actually had a friend that said that she wouldn't date a guy who went to prison. Yeah. Now, her stance might change if that guy went to prison and came out a millionaire. Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. It really just depends on the person. And that's why that's why, like, when he talks, I say it's his opinion. Yeah. And maybe the people he hangs around think the same way. But every guy that makes 6 figures does not think that, because he doesn't know every guy that makes 6 figures. Every man I've ever been in a relationship with, which I haven't been in a lot of relationships, but I've been in like 3 serious ones, relationships. And then, like, the men I date, they have all been to college, okay, in some way, shape, or form. Men who go to college usually
want a certain type of woman. Now, men who go to black colleges, I'm noticing it's a little bit of a different thing. They actually do have also the fraternity guys, those guys who are in that, you know, that kind of realm. I've noticed that they do like women that don't have children. They want slim women. You know what I mean? If you look at their wives or their girlfriends, they all kind of look the same. They hang around the same cliques. They all are part of the same, you know, political parties. They all run around the same crowd. You know what I mean? So and they call themselves like black elites. These black college, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them call themselves black college elites. So they do have a preference, and a lot of them don't really want to date a woman who is maybe plus size, or a woman who has children, or a woman who's over 40. You know, what is the other thing you said? Oh, and they also want someone who is college educated as well. So that is that I would say that group of men, that he's accurate. A lot of them are like that. He is not wrong about that. And I think that's the group that I think Kevin might be around. And I guess I get it because they do have a clique.
Yeah.
I said this before. I think I said in the video before that there was a man who was interested in me, and he, you know, was pursuing me and talking. You know, it's very brief, but he was pursuing me and trying to talk to me, and I was, you know, like mildly interested, but interested. And we were talking for a little while, and when he asked me what college I went to, and I knew then, you know, because that's not like, I don't know if that's a normal question. Maybe it is a normal question. I don't know. But asked me what college I went to, and I said, oh no, I didn't go to school, and if I didn't go to college, I didn't go to higher education. And he was like, really? And it turned him off completely. I'm not faulting the guy. I'm just saying this is how it went down. And you know, he went to a historically black college. He was part of fraternity. This whole thing. He said, "Wow, I would have thought you went to college. You know, you seem like you would have went to college." I was like, "Is that a problem?" And he was basically, you know, I said, "You can be real," and he's like, "Kind of." Okay. You know what I mean? He's like, kind of. I said, okay, well, then it's been nice meeting you for all the 5 minutes. It has been nice meeting you. But so they have a preference. I mean, they just do. They have a preference of it. And a lot of them have a reason for those preferences. You know, a lot of men who make money like that are usually 40 and above, or maybe just like late 30s, early 40s, making a lot of money. So they want a woman who doesn't have children. Right. Because they want to create a legacy. He is right about that. They want to have their own kids. You know what I mean? From them. They don't want a woman who has, you know, other kids. That's part of it there. And they also don't want women who are our age, normally our age, because they want kids. It's a more of a, like I said, risk.
No, it's what it is it's just because I'm in my 40s that I wouldn't want to be someone's, like I was telling Danielle the other day, there would be no way that I would want to be a man's first time having a child. Yeah. At this age. At this age, yeah. Because what if he really wanted to have a, I mean, and then I couldn't. Right.
I'm 43 and Kara's 44.
Right. So I mean, my point in saying that is like, yeah, if you become successful and you're a man in your 40s, you're probably going to date a woman in her 20s. That's when women are their most fertile. Right. You know what I mean? Right. It doesn't mean you can't have a baby when you're just taking more of a chance when you date an older woman.
But the men I've dated say they don't mind having another kid, by the way.
If they already have kids. I mean, so the men that I would rather you already have a child.
Me too.
Just because I want to have a child, I want all that pressure on me. Right. You see what I'm saying? So I want you to already have kids.
Right. I think that, like, I get your point in bringing that up. But I think it's hard for women sometimes to hear stuff like that. Like
I think when you are in a category that he's talking about, and that's pretty much a lot of women. Yeah. That's the reason why so many women get offended by him, is because most women that call him are anywhere from their 20s, and then there's always something wrong with them. That's the thing. Right. Like, I mean, according to him, there's nothing wrong with you if you're 40. There's nothing wrong with you if you're plus size, and there's nothing wrong with you if you have children. Right. Understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Especially if you take care of your own life and no one's, you know what I mean? But if you want, they're calling him because they want a certain type of man. Right. And what he's telling you is that those types of men want these types of women. They want women who are younger because they want to have kids and they want to start a legacy. Yeah. They want women who are thin because it makes them look
They have an image.
They have an image they want to maintain. They don't, you know, they want women who are, I guess they would call, you know, universally pretty.
Yeah, it's the standard.
They want you to have a college education because college education always makes people look better. But as far as he is concerned, he doesn't trigger me.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't date him. Yeah. He's not my type at all. Right. And so when I'm viewing him from a person that wouldn't even be attracted to him.
So we're able to, because we're not attracted to men like that, we're able to look at him and listen to him properly.
But he's right about a lot of things. Yeah. Now, one thing that I thought was very interesting was he did say that I was watching one of his videos. He has a lot of videos, and I think he said he has over 1,000 videos. So when someone has like over 1,000 videos of people calling them, they're irrelevant. So you can't say that he doesn't like women or something, or you can say that, but you have to understand that you can say he doesn't like women, but you have to understand that women are calling him. So he's relevant to women because they want his opinion.
I think a lot of those women are looking for men like him, and what he's trying to explain to some of these women, and to, you know, to be completely honest with you, like some of the women that are calling him and talking to him, those types of men really would not be interested in him at all.
And also, this is my opinion on women that call to be rated. You have to be low self-esteem. There are a lot of women that call them that have very low self-worth and self-esteem, and they're calling a man who is on his arrogant trip. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so you would never catch me calling someone and telling them to rate me. It's the idea that you would even allow yourself to be put in a position like that, just to be hurt.
Because
you know what I mean? Because you know the kind of person he is. Right. Then to me, again, this is your problem. It's not his problem. You know, Kevin Samuels has a legitimate business. He is not breaking any laws. He's not, you know, he's just telling his truth. And if you're calling someone for their truth, even if you're watching our show, you can't get mad. This is our truth. This is our opinion because it's our show. Right. So if you don't like it, you can stop. You can stop subscribing. You can turn it off. You can do whatever you want. But if you're calling someone in for their opinion, then they're relevant. Right. And you have to accept that. I don't think everything he says is right, and I don't think everything he says is wrong. Yeah. I think that the people he hangs around, that's is what they expect.
Right. And this is what I think women got to understand when it comes to this particular man. Like, I think
he's from like Atlanta. He said the Atlanta crowd is much different than like.
Does anybody know where he's from? Like, where is he from?
He says he's anywhere from. Texas,
he lived a lot of places,
right? But there's a certain group of types of people, you know what I mean? And he's a part of that group, and if you want to be a part of that group, this is what those men look for. It's true. You know what I mean? He is not my type. So when I look at him, I'm literally viewing him as just someone to watch. I think it's entertaining. Look, I'm 44, and he'll say a lot about 40-year-old women. It doesn't bother me because I mean, I don't feel. I think when you feel good about yourself, you can't. You're first of all, you don't get triggered by what people say generally.
That's what I was saying.
Like it's a general like thing. And if you have a child, a lot of the women that call him are single mothers.
Yeah, a lot of them. I noticed that too. A lot of them are single mothers.
They get offended when he says that. Now, I did watch one of his shows where he was saying that women that have children don't get a pass. And that if you have, you know, he told this woman that had 2 children that men like him that make that kind of money don't want to date a woman that is a single mother. That same video, I think the girl went on about, but I'm still this and I'm still that. And he was like, listen, no man that's making 6 figures is going to deal with it. He's like, believe me, I know. I married a single mother. So then men do. So that's what she didn't even catch that. Yeah. You know what I mean? She didn't catch that because she was in her feelings. Right. And he said it, but he said that his last wife, I think he either divorced or something, that she had a child. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when he said that, I thought to myself, so you just threw yourself in a corner because
she didn't catch it.
But you just said that no man that makes 6 figures want to date a single mother, and you just said you married a woman. Yeah. That had his child. Right. That child was not yours. Yeah. And so I was just thinking to myself, well then men do. You know what I mean? So you have to kind of take what people say with sort of a grain of salt. Don't take it so personal. Yeah. You don't know him. Everybody has flaws.
But it's so funny because people
don't make him think that he doesn't have flaws. Is my point.
But these ladies call and they know his system. He has he's a business person, so he has a system of how he does things, and his system is like, how tall are you? How much do you weigh?
What's your dress size?
What's your age? Do you have kids? Have you gone to college?
Right.
These are questions. He's saying all that because men that are like him really, you're gonna. He's trying to tell them they are not going to want you. And I'm sure he cannot blanketly speak for all of those men, but I know a lot of men that like him. Right. I know a lot of men who've been to the, higher education in that way. I know a lot of men who, it's like just like him. I know a lot of men like that in fraternities and all that stuff. They are like that. A lot of them do have that standard, and they don't go outside of that. There is an image that they are trying to portray and then just be. Right. And that's just their clique of people. Yeah. And I know these people. Like Kara and I know these people. So it's kind of like, he's kind of right. You know what I mean? So like when men,
but I don't know if he has biological children, but if he's not married to their mother, he made baby mamas.
So you know
what I'm saying? Like that's why this is why I don't get triggered by him, is because I know that he's not perfect either. No one is. And you believe me, you don't want to date a perfect person. Yeah. A perfect person would be boring and would make you feel like crap, and you wouldn't want to date someone like that. So, even though he has all these different things he wants from a woman, he himself is not perfect. And whoever he marries, I don't care what the list is, she won't be either. I mean, you and I have been asked out and dated 6-figure men.
Okay, so let me just break this down. This is me personally.
We've had actual relationships.
I am over 40. I have not been to higher education. I have high school diploma and all that. I went right into the working world after high school. I am plus size. And what is it? I don't have kids, so I guess that's one. Yeah. But I have like slash on my, according to, if I was trying to date someone in his world, it wouldn't pan out at all. Right. However, we have both dated what he would say, I guess, high value men. We've both been in relationships. But that's why when I was saying,
I think I said in our Kevin Samuels video, that first video, the part where I was saying, and we had some pushback from some men, and
we did,
in the comments, because one guy said it doesn't matter what she thinks about herself.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
It doesn't matter what she thinks about herself. She isn't pretty. She wasn't this. Okay. And so I think it's because I feel high value that I attract high value. That's why I was saying that you have to feel good about who you are.
Because
and what you are. And I don't care what your life, whether you have children or not, whether you're over 40 or not, whatever, you have to feel good about yourself because you attract what you are. One thing he does talk about is location, and that does matter.
That's
if you live in LA, it's a lot different. It's different. If there's a different type of woman in LA that there is in New York. We lived in New York for 10 years. Yeah. And those women are much different than West Coast women. Southern women, Midwest was where we're originally from the Midwest, and then we moved to the East Coast, and those women are much different from where we were born.
Well, you know, even like remember like in New York, like the Upper East Side. Is anybody from New York? Like Upper East Sider women. Those women, like those, like there's a clique of those people, and they all kind of like, it's kind of like what he's saying. There's like that Atlanta clique. You go to Atlanta, you see those women. I went to Atlanta, and they. Literally, this is how they are. It's like a lot of women say, "Oh, I want this high value man that you're talking about." You, as a woman, you really have to sit back and think: do you really want a man? Like, is that really the one for you?
Right.
Because sometimes people just want a man who's wealthy and has all his clout, all his money, is all jet setting and all that.
The image of success.
What do you really want?
Sometimes success is really just having a really good relationship. I don't know how many times Kevin Samuels has been married. But even if he has that checklist, and if he's been married more than once or twice, then even that checklist doesn't work for him all the time.
Right.
Because otherwise he would just have the right woman.
Exactly.
And he would never be divorced.
Exactly.
But I'm sorry, he would never be divorced. So you see what I'm saying? This is why I was saying before that women get too angry. Because getting too angry about a man's preference in a woman. I think sometimes I even ask him, what is a high value woman to you? Yeah. And then he goes on, a woman that doesn't have kids, a woman that's under the 30, a woman who has a college education, a woman who's supportive. He doesn't care if you have a job. He doesn't care if you do anything like that. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. Because, but only because I believe that people should have standards. Because I do. You know what I mean?
So if a man's standard is all of that stuff we just mentioned, all the stuff you wrote on your email, that is his standard. I mean, you can't really be mad at a man for wanting a certain thing. I don't know. I just think that women are kind of just wanting all this one type of guy, and I think that you're just missing out on
a lot of men.
All these men out here.
There are so many great men out here that are being ignored.
Let me tell you who hold it down. I'm talking about men who make 5 figures.
Yeah,
and hold down their entire family. Men
who work 2 jobs.
I dated men who went to the post office, and that's a good job. It's a great job. He loved life. He was living his life. That was what he did for work. But there's other stuff that you should be looking for. And if you're wanting some big jet-setting guy that has a bunch of money and all that, fine. But I hope that you match it. I hope that you match that group of people.
But also, you have to understand what comes with a lot of men who have money. If men are born with money and they come with it, sometimes they can be spoiled. And sometimes they can be so spoiled they don't know how to treat women because they've been coddled their whole life. They've never really had to go out and make money because they came from money.
And then also, if men just earn their own money, just an entrepreneur, just being CEOs and work their way up to it, I don't think a lot of women also understand what those men, how much they're gone. Because how do you think they make that kind of money? They have a lot of work to do. They do a lot of work. So a lot of times these women, like I know a couple women who are married to wealthy men, and they don't get to see them a whole lot. But they always say it's kind of the price that you pay because you know what you married. You know what I mean? And so while that's not all men, but a lot of men who make the kind of money, it's sometimes you're going to have to understand it's a different type of life. And then there are men out there, which is the vast majority. Honestly, Kevin talked about this. He said there's a whole bunch of other men out there, right, that you're just neglecting because you want a man to make 6 figures. Every woman wants security. That doesn't necessarily mean a man who makes 5 figures or whatever, or the upper 5 figures or whatever it is. A lot of those men are holding down their entire family, and there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're still really good men.
I mean, there's only like with black men in general. I think there's only that make 6 figures. There's only like 3%.
Yeah, there's not.
There are
only
like 3% of black men who make that.
And then those upper 6 figures, it's like 1%. It's not a lot.
It's like 3% men who make that kind of money.
It's not a lot.
And those men have a choice of a lot of women because they make that kind of money. But there are lots of men who are on their way. And they can be making 5 figures. And if they have a really good woman and that's supportive. Not a woman that comes in charging with all her money and trying to show you that, oh, I can help you. You know what I mean? No, a woman who's very supportive and a woman who knows how to, help a man that way to, he could be in 6 figures. A lot of guys will tell you, you know what I mean? I did better once I got married. Because it changes. They have something more to work for. Because when men get more responsibility,
it does change.
It can either make them, if they're not ambitious, it can make them run. If they are ambitious, it can make them want to be even more ambitious and work really hard. You know what I mean? And with the right type of woman, that can happen. But fighting over a very handful of men, basically a few men, is just ridiculous. Busy, and also when you date men with a little money. Men who are successful are busy. A lot of young girls don't understand that. They date these older guys and they don't they instill in boyfriend high school mentality and they go date a man and then they get mad when he doesn't want to spend time. Like, hun, listen, busy men who make money are very busy. They're not on Facebook all the time. You'll never find them always on Facebook or social media. They're not always, they take time to do it sometimes, but they're not always on social media. You know what I mean? So they have all kinds of things to be doing that has nothing to do with what sometimes average men do. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So, and it makes sense because that's why they are where they are. They're not doing what average people do. You know what I mean? And you have to understand that when you date someone that you're not going to get all of their time.
And it's hard for women to understand.
For a lot of women, that is hard for them.
It's hard to understand. I think that maybe because we have life experience maybe. And what I've noticed, I just want to say this real quick because we've gotten more subscribers, and what we've noticed is that the demographics a little bit different now. So we have it was like a lot of women
in our age,
late 30s, going all the way to 50s. You know, we have some 60-year-olds, all the way to their 50s. But now I'm noticing that there are women now watching us that are in their 20s and their early 30s, and so they write us and let us know that they like what we're saying and our opinion on things, and so it's kind of like that big sister kind of. I guess maybe they're just thinking of us like that, and I do want to say to women out there that are younger than us, you know, in their 20s and want families and all this stuff, you really do have to, because I know he talks a lot about how women are wanting to make six figures themselves. They want to be CEOs, and that's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But if you do want a family and stuff like that, there you do have to sacrifice and balance or compromise. You're gonna have to do some of those things. And I think like a lot of younger women think that they can just you know, like do all of that. You know what I mean? And then a lot of them are too busy trying to make all that money and do all the stuff and climb up the corporate ladder, which again, fine. But understand, if you want a family, don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself in work like that, because let me tell you,
and that really is the difference between men and women.
We have a time.
That's why men always went to work and women didn't.
It's
because women have a window and men don't. Men can have children until they're dead if they want. They can be 60 years old still, you know, knocking up 20-year-old women and 25-year-old women, you know, if they want to. You know what I mean?
But women, we have time frame.
Right, and that was one thing men had that women didn't have. Is the fact that they can just always procreate. Men
like that really want a wife who's going to be able to have children and then be a hands-on mom.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a hands-on mom, I'm not talking about the, you know, nanny mom.
No.
You know, I'm not saying anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that if you are planning to be like a hands-on mom and you get caught up in all that work and all that, you know, you don't want time to go by and then you wake up and you're 35.
Because basically he's making the income of two people. So that you can do that.
Right.
Because, you know, being a mother and being a wife is very tough.
It's a tough
You know,
job,
I mean, that was the one thing I think like women's liberation didn't touch on. Because they were all big on women going to work, but they forgot about how important it is to be a housewife and what that actually means. When women went to work, a lot of kids came home to no one. When men used to go to work and women stayed home, kids came home to someone. And so the house was very balanced because of that. And so once women went off to work, which is fine, that every woman's not made to be a housewife, it did change the dynamic of how kids were raised. Because a lot of kids end up being raised with television, coming home and there being, you know, not anyone there. You know? And so there, although that you know, things have changed and it's become normal now. That is the point of a man going to work and a woman staying home, is that he's working really hard. That's why he doesn't have a lot of time. He's working really hard to bring income so that his family is balanced. And he comes home, he's not really supposed to do anything at home. He's not supposed to cook and clean and all of that.
I think it's hard for women to be able to, and I'm bringing this up because me and this, I conversed a little bit with this young lady who wrote us, and she was talking a lot about, you know, she wanted to have kids, you know, she wanted to have kids, and she wanted to also keep climbing up the corporate ladder and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but don't get lost in, you know, the corporate ladder if you want to be a mom. Because, you know, the one thing that if I were to take things back and rewind time, let me tell you, my life worked out the way it's supposed to work out, and I'm actually pretty happy with it. With all the trials and tribulations of my life, I am very happy with my life. The one thing I would say that I wish I had done then is that I had really paid attention to the motherhood thing. Because now I'm in my 40s. It's, you know, it's crunch time. You know what I mean? Like, it's getting kind of like that. So when I hear young women, they say this to us and like, oh, you know, I'm going to be CEO, I'm going to be a mom, am I going to be this? I'm like, honey, you're going to have to figure out some type of compromise balance, or you're going to stop altogether. You want to do the mom thing and the wife thing and all that, because you're going to be trying to work and work and work and work and work, and then you're going to wake up and you're 35. You know, like right now you're 28. Things are looking great, and then you're gonna wake up at 35 and you're still not in a relationship, and you're still trying to climb the corporate ladder, and then you're gonna be 30, and then you're 40. So when I hear women who are younger than us talk like that.
Yeah,
I'm
you want to. I would have loved to have a child when I was in my early 30s.
Yeah,
I never really wanted to be a woman in my 20s having a child, mostly because I knew it was kind of mixed up.
Well, we always knew we were going to be older mothers.
Like I knew I was kind of mixed up or whatever, and I never ever, not to belittle any woman that is a single mom, but I never wanted to be a single mother because I was raised by one, and I saw how hard it was for her.
Well,
she told us.
Yeah, our mom told us.
She was very clear. Don't have a child when you don't have a husband.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And even though I'm in my 40s, I always kept that with me because, and that's what one thing I wish I would have had you, but I'm glad I don't. Because of all the things that I had to go through. I'm glad I didn't have to drag a child with me to go through it. You know what I mean? But if you have a child, you just do, and then you make you know what I mean? That's not, you're not damaged. Goods because you have a child, but you have to understand that if you do have a child by another man, other men will, when you start dating, that will be a factor.
So he's right to mention.
You know, it's funny. It should be a factor.
I think
because a man should. You shouldn't want a guy to just accept your child with, you know, and he doesn't really want to, just because you want to get married. You want a man who wants your child also, and definitely loves you enough to take care of your kid. You know, so you do for women that are younger. When Kevin says stuff like that, don't have a child before you're ready, because it can make a difference in your future.
If you want to have,
he's right about that. I know it's a hard pill to swallow for women who call him, because most of the women that call him have kids and they're single moms. And it's hard to hear a black man say that to a bunch of black women that are calling him, and they get mad and they get frustrated because they already have kids. And basically what they're thinking he's saying is, so what, I should just give up? And I think a girl did say that to him. She was like, what, do I just give up? And he said, or you can wait till your kids are grown up. And he said, you'll have a better chance when you're in your 40s than you will now, because people have to accept your child. Now, if you want a 6-figure guy, that might be true. But that doesn't mean that's true for every guy. There are a lot of men out there that marry women that have 1 or 2, 3 children, and they're fine with that. You know what I mean? They love you. But if you're saying that they're not enough for you, you need 6 figures, then you have to understand what then if a woman can have standards, so can a man. You know what I'm saying? So you can't be mad at him for saying that.
We had a guy in the comment section said that he's one of these high valued men, and he's like, I don't want a woman with children. And I said to him, and you have that right. It is okay to not want a woman. It's okay to not want a woman who's our age.
It doesn't matter. You can date whoever you want to date. No one should be offended by someone's choices. You know what I mean? So look,
I just want to get offended by this whole thing. Like I see what you're saying. Again, when I know that you're breaking down all the things that he said, and you know, the plus size and the 40s and the kids and the college, and you got to be all these things. And I just really want people to understand that is the opinion of somebody who has a business based in trying to get people together, and I think he's successful at it. He says he is.
I think he has a little thing where he gets
matchmaking type thing, and then he's like an image consultant. So he is stats based. You know what I'm saying? Like he is someone who does things by stats, and stats are great. You should know some stats. You know, it's fine. You should be able to know where you fit in some of those stats. But there is a part of just naturally finding somebody where it's the element of surprise, boy meets girl type thing. You know what I mean? There's that thing too. So let's be able to do both here. Let's look at the stats. You know, and do I want that type? It's another thing. Do you even want that type of guy? So people always think they want something. They don't really know they want that. Because every woman's gonna be like, oh my God, I want someone who's rich, a rich guy, and doing all this. I'm like, really think about this for a second. Are you just saying that because you see we're in celebrity culture right now, so you see all of this, you know, fancy YouTubers, you know what I mean, and the celebrities in general have all this stuff, and you kind of want that stuff too. And a guy's gonna make, you know, a man who has all that's gonna be able to make this dream happen for you. And it's like, you don't even know what, some women don't even know what that lifestyle is. He even says to a lot of women, you know, do you know any men in that realm?
Most don't.
And most of them are like, no. Do you know any man who makes 6 figures? No. Do you know any man? And you don't even know these men. These types of men. So if you haven't even mingled in that crowd, you may not even want to be with these men. They might not even be your type. You just think it is because they make a lot of money and whatever. And I'm telling you right now, I've dated men with money. I've, you know, been in a relationship with someone with money, and
Sometimes they're not great.
Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're not. You just have to. It's about you. It's about you.
But in dating in general, it's chemistry.
It is.
You know what I mean? You can literally date a 6-figure guy and have no chemistry at all.
Well, I dated a 6-figure guy and I let him go because we didn't have any chemistry. It wasn't. I mean, like it was no bad blood, and but it's fine. But I just let him go because I felt like, well, we're not really. I still want chemistry. I don't care how much money you make at this point, right? I don't want you to be broke. Clearly, okay, look. I don't want a broke man. That doesn't work either. But
the one thing I like, what I like in a man is I like for him to like what he does.
Me too.
I don't date men who I don't date men who are like going to jobs that they hate. They hate him.
Right.
Because I think that a lot of times when men don't like what they do, I've said this before, when men don't like what they do, they take it out on you. Yeah. Especially if you do like what you do.
100%.
You know what I mean? And so to me, success is very important to men. Yeah. If they don't like what they're doing,
it's going to show up.
Right. If they're working a bunch of odd jobs they can't stand, they're not going to be as happy. It's going to be hard to date them. But if you can date a man who actually is working hard on a job and he really likes it, he's really into it, that's an interesting guy.
Right.
I mean, and that doesn't necessarily mean 6 figures.
People are stuck on the 6 figures.
Right.
People are stuck on the 6 figures.
And then I think it's like the way you call people high valued.
Yeah.
Because just because you're 6 doesn't mean you're high
valued either. Yeah.
There's a lot of people out here who make a lot of money who are pretty low in value.
It's his system. Successful. So I'm assuming that his system must be working out. He seems to have some kind of matchmaking thing going on. So if you don't fit within his stats, he is correct. If you come to him and you're saying, oh, Kevin, I would like to have this man who has this and 6 figures. I really want to get married before I'm this and that. He's going to tell you based on stats that's probably not going to happen for you. Right. This may be the group of men you need to date. Maybe not this group. Right. And that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like guys who are just average at this point, and I don't mean average in a derogatory way at all. I mean just a regular Joe. You know what I mean? Just living his life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Doing well. And just working, having a good time, got friends and family. Just that type of guy. Just a regular guy who doesn't have a jet. I feel like they're getting the short end of the stick with women because some women are just really can I get this 6 figure thing? Oh my God, I gotta make money. He's gotta be 6 feet tall. He's gotta have, a sports car. It's like, calm down, ladies. Calm down for a minute. Those things are nice, but they are things. Right. So you're gonna have to really get to the root of who this man is.
I just think that it's more important the quality of the man.
Me too. Yeah.
And what he's doing, what he's working on.
Right.
What's his goals in life? Where's he going? That's what really, really matters. The other stuff about the 6 figures and everything, that stuff is really just empty. Yeah. Because people on paper are not as important. Yeah. I had to find that out. I mean, I've dated a guy that he was great on paper. Yeah. But I didn't like him. You know what I mean? And I would rather be single. You understand? So don't put people on pedestals. And I have never heard of this man before in my life, Kevin Samuels, and now I cannot stop hearing about him.
Someone said, why are women even listening to Kevin Samuels? And let me tell you this. And this is going to make some women maybe not happy. There is a part of a woman, that likes the leadership of a man. So this is why the Derek Jacksons, the Kevin Samuels, the Steve Harveys of the world, all these men that make Trent Sheldon, all these people,
guy, Tony Baskin.
But keep going. It's all these men who help women. The reason why it works, because women say that to me, I was like, why are they even listening to him? I'm like, because there's a part of a woman, no matter who she is, and no matter how much she tries to suppress it, who likes the leadership of a man and wants the opinion of a man. That's why they do so well. There is really no other reason. That's why they do so well.
And all of those men, although true, are all flawed. They do all flawed. They are flawed. Steve Harvey's married like 3 times. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think Derek Jackson was over there taking pictures with his shirts off. He's married. You know what I mean? Why are you doing that if you're married? Right. Because your audience is mostly women. Right. You know what I mean? It's just like, I think Tony Baskin's been divorced many times. He's a church guy or something, and it's just like, come on, but that's okay. They still, that doesn't take away from them being right about something.
Don't get too caught up in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay for him to have the opinion about that. Right. Thank you, Tiffany, for the question. I know we just always just start talking and go off onto totally different subjects, but I hope this helps in some way. Do you think men who have these type of standards are just out of the question? It's just out of the question to want a woman with no kids, and want a woman who's been to college, and want a woman who's slim, and want a woman who's, you know, under 35. It's just, to me, I think it's okay to want that. That's your preference. You know what I mean? So let us know what you think. Drop a comment if you have not already. Again, please go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our content. That's it. All right, guys. Bye.